Hi everyone, my name is Kata and this is my making journey. I am filming from Rio de Janeiro. You can't really see it because there's a storm brewing, but in the back is Dois Irmãos, which is a beautiful hill that you can see from our apartment here in Ipanema. This video is about all the clothes that I made for this trip. Or really, they weren't made for this trip. I just happened to bring a fully made wardrobe to Rio. Including some of the things that Max is using and the luggage we brought. So if you're interested in seeing it, stick around and I'm going to tell you about everything I made and that I brought. I'll talk about my clothes first and then here are my notes. I will tell you about everything I made for Max later on. So the oldest thing I made here was a kimono top. And that was my own design. I made that a while ago, probably before COVID even, with some Indian fabric that I got sent to Tate when we first arrived about 9.5 years ago now, almost 10 years ago actually. So that one was made by me. It was something I really wanted to make. I thought about selling them at some point, so I made a few that I gave away, and then I liked them too much, so I kept the fabrics for myself. All right, so we're gonna start after that. In 2024 is when I really started sewing. And the first thing I made was the Tate romper by Small Museum, which is a design company owned by a Brazilian girl who's also American, and she's located in the US, if I'm not mistaken. This is a really nice, I think, easy pattern that you can make quickly, and has a wide variety of sizes. It is a paid pattern, and my favorite thing about it, apart from the width and how big it is and how roomy it is that it taught me how to make pockets. Everything I've made with pockets after that, I have made using the pockets from this pattern. After that, I made the Laelia tunic. I hacked this pattern. It is a trapeze style high neck pattern. And there's a video for it. I'll leave the link down below. And I turned it into an empire waist. I lengthened it. I made a ruffle bottom, and I put a nice bow on the top. You can't really see it in this video because it's not ironed, so it doesn't look as good as it could, but really nice. And of course I put pockets in this dress, which makes it really comfortable. The next dress I made was a pink dress. This pink dress, I used to have a version of this dress that was from Forever 21 that I lost in Sicily about, I don't know, 14 years ago or something like that. I don't know how, because I don't really walk around the beach without something on, so I don't know what happened. And I really wanted one, so I decided to make my own based on the pictures that I have of some of my trips from the time I had the dress. But I started making it when I was freshly after my C-section, and it just fit really badly, so I tried it again the day before coming to Rio, and there was so little left to do, so I just took it all apart and got it done. And so yeah, so that's the pink dress. Then I made 3 jumpsuits out of the exact same pattern by a company called DCRT. It's a pink one, a hot pink, fuchsia one, a petroleum blue one, and then a striped one. I love this pattern, although I do think it's made with AI because it's not very clear. The pattern didn't bring body measures, it just brought finished garment measures. So if you need body measures to figure out, I needed them to figure out what size to make in accordance to what the model was wearing, because I wanted a similar fit of what the model was wearing in the pictures that they put online, but they didn't have it, so I kind of flew a little blind there. But it ended up working okay, and I made 3, and this is what I've worn the most throughout summer, I would say, ever since I made these. I love them. If you don't care too much about, you know, a pattern that isn't like the Tate romper, which really walks you through everything and is really easy to follow, then this pattern might be for you. This is the same with the Laelia tunic. The pattern mood tends to sometimes assume that you know things that you don't know. So it might be a little frustrating. So another one that I made was the easy jumpsuit from Aura Patterns. This is also from Etsy, and this pattern is a little bit better written, I think, and a little bit easier to follow. So this one is, I also think it's a pattern that you can easily dress up and down depending on what you're wearing. I made it a couple of years ago, or last year, a couple of years ago, for a 25-year reunion from high school, and I wore it, and I think it looked really nice. All right, then the next is the only pair of pants I made to come here. I originally made a skirt with pattern 1079 from Grasser, which is a free pattern, and right now it's costing like 50 cents. I'm still counting it as free because I think that is super cheap. And this is a skirt that looks super nice on the model, but I think it just made me look a little bit frumpy, so I decided to turn them into harem pants. I have a short video on this. It was really easy. The skirt has 4 hems that are vertical, so I just moved one of the hems to the middle and pinned it and cut it and made these harem pants that I love, and I wear them all the time. And I paired that with the Halcyon lace sweater, which is made by Juliette Dress. I really like this sweater. It's nice and airy and just light, and I think it looks really nice if you're not wearing anything underneath, or a bikini, or just a bikini or something like that, which is mostly what I wore here. And then I have the last 2 things that I made for myself. One is a black and white dress from Fried Lies Studio. It's the Juliette Dress. And I made this originally for a wedding I had, and I paired it with these horsehair earrings that I had this year in January, and I love it. I'm wearing it today. It's super breezy. The only thing I need to do with this is add pockets. So I'm gonna use the Tate romper pockets into this as soon as I get back home. And last but not least is my first sweater, which is a pattern I just well, it's not a pattern, it's a tutorial, and I just put it on YouTube a couple of days ago. If you're a complete beginner, it's not the tutorial for you. You'll want to have a relatively steady hand for stitches before you do this. So you want to make sure you've made a couple scarves, or a couple neck warmers, or a couple hats, or socks even, anything that forces you to practice a stitch for a while. But if you've done all that and you're ready for a challenge and you're ready for a sweater, this is a really good pattern. I walk you through everything, including the math, in case you want to do another type of stitch or use another type of yarn or needles. It doesn't matter what gauge you want. It doesn't matter what size you want. It doesn't matter what stitch you want. You have everything you need in this tutorial to make whatever you want. Of course, you can make the drop stitch, which is a really nice stitch, but you don't have to. All right, so now I'm going to talk about everything else I made for this trip. First is the luggage. This is the Tate duffle bag I have made from a company that is located in Poland, I believe, Tate Studios. I have made about 5 of these. It is a great pattern. It's a good size for a weekend trip, or in this case, a 10-day trip to a place that's warm, so you don't need a lot of stuff. So it was great. We brought one for my husband, one for myself, and one for Max, and it fit everything we needed, or they fit everything we needed. I included in this set a set of toiletry bags that I made. I'm gonna write down who makes these because I forget, and I didn't write it in my notes, but this is a free pattern, and it brings 3 different sizes, and they're super useful because in one I put all my underwear and my bikinis and socks and things like that. The other one I put all my bathroom toiletries, and the small one I carry all the electronics, or the cables for electronics and things like that. Then I made a fanny pack for Johnny. I made this a while ago. It's from Core Fabrics, also free. It's a great little pattern. They have 2 sizes, and Johnny uses this fanny pack all the time. He loves it. I included one of his favorite colors, which is seafoam green, and he takes it everywhere. So he brought that. And then last but not least, I made a few things for Max. Well, the biggest one I made for him was the sleep bags, which is, I have a tutorial for that as well. I think they came out great, and I highly suggest you check it out if you want to make something for a baby that's Super, super useful, but not something that people make a lot, I think, because they have a lot of parts. So I walked you through what I made. I think they turned out really well. Max loves these sleeping bags, and they allow him to walk around, which is very important to him, and not get tangled in the bag when he sleeps. So I'm really proud of that one. And then I made him from So Simple Home. I used a rash guard pattern for a bathing suit, the top of a bathing suit for him, and some shorts for the bottom. I made these with some neon fabric that I found in orange and yellow, which is the safest color to use in a water environment. So he's like a little cone that walks around. I made it for last year because he didn't speak as much last year, so I wanted to make sure I could see him at all moments of the day when we were at the beach or near the water. And I made it large enough that I could use it this year too, and it fits perfectly. He loves them. He calls them his superhero bathing suits, which I think is really cute. With the top, actually with these same patterns, I made him a couple of pajamas that he's worn here as well, or just to lounge in the mornings while he watches TV while we get ready for the day. So those patterns are free, and they've been super, super useful. And last but not least, I made him 2 pants and 2 shorts that he has worn as well. This is a tutorial in Spanish by Costurero de Marilo, who is a Chilean seamstress and designer, and she has very clear tutorials for children's, actually for everything. I've just used the children's tutorials, but they seem to me to be very clear, very easy, very well paced, and very simple. So I highly recommend them for beginners. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you didn't like it, I hope you enjoy the next one. Check out the tutorials that I made that I mentioned. They're really fun, and I think super nice. Check out the patterns. Let me know which pattern you liked. In all honesty, I ended up pretty much using the rompers and this dress, so everything else came for the ride. But it was fun to play dress up and all that type of stuff. If you liked the video, I would really appreciate you hitting the like button. I have other tutorials for knitting and sewing and other things that I make along the way. If you enjoy that, I would also appreciate you subscribing to the channel. Happy Mother's Day to all of you that celebrate it, and to those of you that can't celebrate it and would like to, especially for you, a big hug. My name is Kata. This is my making journey. Ciao, ciao.